Hello everyone and welcome to my first video of my Halloween series. So I'm super excited about this one. So this is a Halloween collab with CheekyHammy26, so you should totally go and check out her channel. It's amazing. I'll link it in the description box below, so you should totally go check that out after you've watched this video. I can't stress that, after. Because I really want you all to watch this. So this is going to be a Halloween DIY slash cage decor slash toys video. So I'm going to be showing you 3 DIYs which you can use for just decor or toys, and one of them is edible for your hammy. So I hope you will enjoy. Let's get to it. So firstly, you're going to want to take your cardboard tube and, using something sharp or the blade of your scissors if you don't have something sharp, you're just going to want to cut the cardboard tube into 8. Not cut it, but like kind of chop it into 8 so that you can see where you need to cut it. So I don't know if you can tell, but just down here I've kind of scoured in 8 grooves to make it into 8 pieces, and I'm now just going to go ahead and chop along these lines. So now, as you can see, I've just cut these into 8 small rings, and it doesn't matter if they're kind of higgledy-piggledy cut and all messy and stuff. It won't make any difference. In fact, it's just going to give your toy a little bit more character. So it doesn't really matter if they're all messy. So first you're going to want to take 2 of the rings, and you're just going to want to push one in and then place it along with the other one. So now that you've made this shape, you're just going to want to take another one of these pieces, and you're just going to want to slot it over the top, and you're going to want to keep doing this with all of the rings until you can't fit on anymore. So I forgot to mention this, but you're not actually going to need all of the rings. I personally have 3 left over, but depending on how you do it and things, you might have a different amount. So now your ball should look like this. So now you're going to want to put your ball to the side, and if you are choosing to use bedding, you're going to want to get that out now. So with the bedding, you're just going to want to tear it into really small pieces so that you can fit it inside of the ball, because this is just going to make it a lot more fun for your hamster to find the treats. So you're just going to rip it up into really small pieces. Now, it doesn't particularly matter like how much you do, like you can do a lot or you can do a little bit. So I'm just going to go ahead and do that. So I've now ripped up my toilet tissue into really small pieces. Now I'm probably not going to need to use all of this, but I just thought I'd do this much just in case. So now I'm just going to put this to the side, and you're just going to want to take your ball again. So then, taking small amounts of the tissue, you're just going to want to push it into the ball. This is why you don't want to do rip up the tissue too small, because otherwise it will just come straight out the ball again, and things. So as you're going along, so every time you put in some tissue, just put a few treats in there. This will just make it a little bit nicer for your hamster, and there'll be a few more treats in there for them to find. Now you're probably not going to need too many treats. If you do this for your hamster like once in a while, you can put a few more in, but if it's something where you kind of use it every week just to help them become more interactive with things, then you're probably not going to want to put as many in, because obviously you don't want to make your hamster get too fat or get too many of some particular nutrients. So now that you've done that, you should just have a bulging ball that is squishy but still is pretty much full. And obviously if you were just using treats, you'd want to make it so there was no gaps in the ball and you just put the treats in. That's a little bit harder though. Or you could use a bigger treat, in which case it wouldn't come out of the large holes. So that's pretty much it. So again, this is kind of another kind of treat stuffer thing, but what we're going to be making is kind of like a jack-o'-lantern or Halloween pumpkin, what do you call it, like a treat stuffer kind of thing, slash Halloween cage decor, but it's kind of interactive, which I prefer. I don't really like having things that are just for decoration, but this could just be used for decoration if you didn't want to stuff it. So firstly, using a Hammy safe pencil such as this dissolvable one, or this scourer on your scissors, you're just going to want to draw in the middle a jack-o'-lantern face. So once you've drawn on your face just like this, you're going to want to go ahead and cut it out. So I actually had to improvise mine because I did a really complicated drawing and it was too small as well, so it was really hard to cut out. So now what you're going to do is you just want to cut lines about that far apart all along here, about that long, so that we can fold it in. So once you've created your lines like this, you don't need to do this many, but I just thought I would, just to make it a little bit harder for my hammy to get into. You're going to want to take one end and just start folding them all in. Fold it down one side, it should look like this, and then like that from the inside. So now you're just going to want to rip up some tissue and just keep putting that in there. So put a bit of tissue, then some treats, then a bit of tissue, then some treats, unless you want to leave it empty just for decor. So now that I've stuffed it, it kind of should look like this from the front, and then as you can see in the sides, you might be thinking, but you've not filled it all the way up. Well, you need to fold this bit down, so you don't want too much stuff there. So now you're just going to go ahead and fold all of these bits down to finish off your jack-o'-lantern. So once you've completed the DIY, it should just look like this. You can make it look a little bit more square if you like, just to make it look a little bit more like a pumpkin, and help it stand up, but I'm just going to leave mine like this. So yeah, here is the jack-o'-lantern treat stuffer slash cage decor. So firstly, what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to take the seeds and you're just going to want to put them in with the flour. So it doesn't really matter how much of seeds and flour you have, they just need to make sure that they are roughly equal amounts, and it doesn't really matter too much if you have a little bit too much or a little bit too little. You want to make sure that you can see the seeds within the treat. I have washed my hands, so don't worry, but you're just going to mix it together like this. Now I feel like I don't really have enough seeds. You might actually want a couple more seeds than you have got flour, but yeah. So what you're going to want to do once you've done this stage is you're just want to take a larger mixing bowl and just tip your mixture into here, because the next stage, if you're doing a small bowl like this, it would get really quite messy. So yeah. So next you're just going to want to take around a tablespoon or something of peanut butter, and you're just going to want to place that in here. Now if you use a few less seeds, you can just use lumpy peanut butter, but I personally prefer to use smooth peanut butter just because it emphasises the seedy look a little bit more. So you're going to need quite a lot, but not too much, if you know what I mean. So next, with the back of your spoon, you're just going to want to mix up the mixture, and you're going to want to add more or less peanut butter so that it just forms a nice dough. So now that you've done that, your mixture should be in kind of like a dough ball kind of thing. So now what you're going to want to do is, on a chopping board like I have here, you're just going to want to split it into 8 pieces. So I totally take that back, it was actually 4 pieces. Because I didn't actually make that much dough. So now what you're going to want to do is, if you put 3 of your pieces aside, you're just going to want to take one of your balls and you're going to just want to flatten it. Now I found that my balls were quite crumbly because I don't think I used enough peanut butter. So as you can see, if I lift it up, there's loads of bits that have like crumbled off of it, but you're just going to want to flatten it. And then you can make it into any kind of Halloween shape you like. Now, it doesn't really matter what shape you make it into because, well, it just doesn't. I'm personally going to be making ghost shapes because obviously that is what this video is about. So what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to make like the head bit here. So if you look, here's just the head bit, and then you're going to want to kind of make the bottom bit a little bit wiggly. It's kind of all weird and wiggly and stuff. Now this isn't actually very good. Mine is very, very dry dough, which is kind of annoying. So actually the whole ghost thing isn't actually going to work. So instead I'm going to make little pumpkins, because I feel like this video is kind of like a pumpkin theme. Because I made the true treat stuffers as well. So we're going to make pumpkins. So to make the pumpkin, you're just going to want to make it into a small circle, and then using any dough that's fallen off of yours, if it's fallen off, or maybe you might want to just nick a bit from another one, and then roll it up. You're just going to want to try and secure it to the top of your little pumpkin thing. And here is your little Halloween pumpkin treat. Now they're very big, so you might want to only give it to your hamster like during playtime, or maybe for one night and then take it out and not put it in for a while. So you should have created your shape now. So the last stage is obviously they're still a dough, so we're going to need to set them. I'm sorry, I just wobbled the camera, I don't know what happened. So to set them, you're going to need to put them in the freezer, and you're going to do this for, well, I think it's like 2 hours or something, depending on the thickness. Just so that they set. They don't need to do anything fancy, just so that they set.